Hey, welcome back. This is Ty. It's the TP Elevates podcast. Every time I interview somebody, they're either an athlete, they've got a phenomenal, extraordinary background, or we're talking about mental health. Usually, I try to tie them all together. But this guy I have right now, let me tell you something. As you all know, I go to the gym all the time, and I'm constantly working out. When I first seen this guy, I was like, okay, this is crazy. Either he's a football player or he's just like an overall monster. I'm watching this guy with like 20 or 30 freaking 45-pound plates on this sled, and he's driving it down this 15-yard stretch of turf, and he's making it look easy. Then he turns around and he's pulling it. And so I had to stop my workout and sit there and just watch him. I walked up to him and I was like, dude, if you don't play football, you got to be a football player or something. It turns out he's not a football player, but he has an extraordinary story in what he does. I'm going to let him introduce himself. I think that that's really important because I think that would be much more authentic, but I think you're in for a treat. If you're into marine biology, if you're into the sea, if you're fascinated by sea creatures, by the depth of the sea or anything like that, I think this is going to be something that you're going to be excited to listen to watch. So without further ado, Tao, take over.
Thanks, Ty. Well, first of all, thanks for the invitation, man. Yeah, like you say, well, I'm a biologist. I'm actually not a marine biologist. I'm in general biologist. I love ocean, water. So, yeah, what can I say? I discovered new species. I've been publishing articles since I was an undergrad. And I've been doing a lot of sport. Uh, and even I have some good background, not just in sport, but also for science. I love just to share my knowledge to people because I think that that's like the main key for people to just you know think that actually studying has a reward at the end. So yeah, I just love to share what I know, try to involve people, and it doesn't matter the age. There you're always learning. You're always fascinated with people that start talking about things. So yeah, I think that I'm kind of that type of guy.
Well, kind of take me back a little bit, right? Because
Yeah.
we've talked about this, but we've never talked about it, of course, here.
Yeah.
But how did you get into this? And before you tell the story of, you know what I mean, in the cave,
Hmm.
you spent a lot of time in the water just in general.
Yeah.
So, like, where did that sort of fascination come from, or was that like something that you did all the time? Was that so? For instance, for me, growing up all the time, we played in the streets.
Yeah.
Right, and we would play football in the streets, basketball in the streets, we play everything, right? Because you had the little court hanging off somebody build out there on the streets, and you play. So that was normal. So it made sense for me to grow up and want to play football and
Hmm.
never organized. Right?
Yeah.
What were you doing prior to, you know what I mean, you developing this desire to want to go down this path?
My mom.
Okay.
My mom, one of her dreams was to become a marine biologist at one point, but uh, those old days, it was difficult for a woman to even leave the house. So she always taught me about, there's a world outside these four walls, and so whatever you decide to study, I'm gonna support you. Doesn't matter what. So I guess that was like the main point. Uh, but like I say, like the heat was when I was in that cave.
Hmm.
When she saw my face, she saw the opportunity, and she saw that I have a goal in my life, and she just gave me all his her time, tools, and whatever, just to make that dream accomplishable. But yeah.
So the cave scenario. Whenever I tell people about the story about the cave, I tell them this huge, fascinating, exciting story like it's in a movie, right?
Yeah.
When you tell it, of course, it's a lot more authentic.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I think I'm telling it because I want to draw people into the story. And for me, when you told me, that's kind of how it came off to me. So I tell it the way I heard it, right?
Yeah.
And it was very exciting. But tell us about the cave. Tell us about you being a kid going into the cave. What that was like.
Okay, yeah. So 11 years old me, diving in a cave full of water. So a little bit of background of cave is that Mexico has um, these caves called cenotes that they were like ancient and historical cemeteries for our past. So Aztec, Toltecs, Olmecs um, were living around these caves because they thought that these caves were like the underworld, a path to heaven, let's say. So when you go there and you see transparent water, fish, uh, plants, bats, um, other kind of rocks that you normally don't see like on the surface, you get amazed, especially because these caves are surrounded by huge trees, bushes, grass, a lot of things. So when you're walking or trying to walk inside one of the caves, and the reflection of the sun is in the perfect spot, you have magical scenarios. So visually, you fall in love. Second for me was while diving, see for um, these weird specimens around me. It's like, damn, does this really exist? This is like a fairy tale, you know? Right. These creatures just like moving around me, and how can they detect me? Uh, and the third is the correct people were there to teach me and keep put like a chip in my head saying, this is worth it. And the fourth and more important thing, I guess, that my parents didn't hold me. They do the other thing. They push me. You want to do this? Go for it.
They encouraged you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's why I'm here. So,
what was it about that experience? What was it about that experience that stuck with you? I mean, you see all these fascinating creatures underwater.
Mm-hmm.
Probably things that the majority of the people who walk the surface will never see unless they go inside of, like an aquarium. But the reality of it is even still inside of an aquarium, you're limited to what it is that you see, right? You're literally swimming with them as a kid.
Yeah.
You were fearless. You never had any fear of running into some wild shark or you know what I mean?
Yeah. Never. I actually I think that's one of my skills I have, because to be honest, I respect animals. Wild animals, you never know how they're gonna react. You already know that they might be aggressive, but people tell me you're kind of a cold-blooded person because you can approach to rattlesnakes over here, or animals that can harm you just in seconds. And but when you are there, it seems that they even like you. You know what I mean? So the thing is that I always treat the animals with respect. Even so, before going to the water or to the forest or wherever I need to go, I pray. And I say, God, just give me the opportunity to know I'm not planning to harm what gives me food to live. I want to treat this with the responsibility and everything, and then I'll do my stuff, and at the end I just make a small bow, discreet one, and say thank you for this opportunity and move on. So being respectful, I guess it's also maybe for people it might be, that's too much. You get lucky probably, but for me it's been, always a thing. So yeah, I don't forget that they are wild too.
When you go to a place like Hawaii, right? And so, because we went on vacation to Hawaii, and prior to going on vacation to Hawaii, because I wanted to go swim with the sharks, I went online and I was looking for different websites where I could gain information, right? I can learn, sort of educate myself, right?
Yeah.
I came across a website. I should have wrote it down. I don't remember it. I know I have it saved on my computer in the bookmarks. But this website, it is a federal website, and I believe it's a federal website, but they track all of the instances where people have been attacked by sharks, right?
Yeah.
Now, what's interesting to me is the majority of the attacks, if not all of the attacks, are shark attacks, not some other creature. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Not some other sea creature. And so for me, when you go through and you read the details, so tying this to what you said, a lot of the times it says that person, they disturbed or they intruded upon the environment of the shark, or wherever they were. They themselves went into a place that they were not supposed to be in. They were there doing things that they weren't supposed to be doing. And so, of course, the shark attacked them, right? So then I start to think of just animals in general. It's probably in the best interest of, I guess, all humans, if we respect one another, to have respect for those animals as well. I think some of the issue, though, is people take for granted the fact that the sea, we have, direct contact, or we have direct access to the sea. Because the reality is, jump on a boat and just go out there, right? In the big scheme of things. Sure, there's some other different things that, you have to consider before going out there. But, man, I've been on boats where we're out in the sea and I'm seeing people just jump out into the ocean, right? No training, no nothing. They're drinking. You know what I mean? They're smoking. They're doing all kinds of fun stuff or whatever, they like. And then they jump in the water. And so for me, I'm sitting there like, man, 5, 4, 3, 2. You know what I mean? Just kind of waiting on something to happen. Because, if you don't respect the ocean, if you don't respect the fact that there are things in the ocean that are there that you don't even know of. They're finding new species like all the time. All the time. So for you, what are some of the species that you've seen down there that were just kind of like, holy cow, that you've come across in your research?
In my research, well, I guess like most of the species that I work with were more inland, but in the aquatic system.
Okay.
So the most impressive one was that we were looking for some small fish like this big, 2-3 centimeters, freshwater fish in the center of Mexico. And while we were doing like the net fishing, we came across with a baby crocodile, meaning that they're gonna be the mother too.
The baby is gonna be the mother.
The baby, if we have the baby, the mother is close. It was night, late night. So when we flash again, we can see those huge eyes just around and say like, oh, you know what? These crocodiles doesn't need to be here. They're very far from the normal distribution. And when we capture one of those babies, obviously we take them with the appropriate security and whatever. We find out that it was a new location of crocodiles. Nobody placed them there. They just moved. The interesting thing was that they crossed a huge mountain range to just be there.
So they migrated through mountains to get to this other area.
Oh, their area, yeah. And because of that, I have the registration in a published article saying the new location of this type of crocodiles. But that's been like the most like dangerous thing, because I was like drowned almost like here with a net because I wanted to catch my fish. And suddenly you see a crocodile. It's like, was a kind of dangerous thing to do.
What would you consider is so like when you have that, they migrate to a different area.
Mm-hmm.
From a population standpoint, what would be enough for you to, decide to, write a journal on it or to publish an article on it, or to make it something that's known to science? What would be like? Let's say if you had two that were there,
Mm-hmm.
is that enough to say, okay, there's a new colony, or would you need to have a certain number to validate that?
So in here depends a lot because huge animals can be like you say, if you have two samples over here and the rest over here, depending on the animal, you can tell that something happened. So you can say maybe not publish an article in iNaturalist or Nature, um, but you might say, okay, uh, this is happening. So you just tell the community that this is happening. But for example, with the fish that I discovered, you know that they have all of this area, but suddenly you find a good colony over here. But these fish are smaller. They can't reach that lake without being outside the water because they are fish.
Yeah.
So when you look to certain characteristic of this fish, you will notice that I don't know in the case of fish, if you count the rays or the spines, they are different. The size are different. The color is different. The way they reproduce are different. When you see more characteristics of that kind, you will see this is a new species that nobody see before. So now you can say, okay, I can capture, compare both animals. These are the differences, and now I can publish it in a higher journal to say this happens, and I have the proof.
Yeah.
But it will depend all the time the geography, the type of specimen, and the sample, because sometimes there are plants or animals that doesn't reproduce as fast.
Yeah.
So you need to take a rest for a time
Yeah.
and see, okay, this is happening. But if not, this is the thing that it's running. So there are a lot of considerations while doing this kind of publish. Mm-hmm.
In this journey, like what is fueling you to continue down this journey? Like you have an ultimate goal,
Yeah.
right? So what's fueling you, and what's the ultimate goal for you?
Yeah. Well, I'm gonna start with the second part of your question. The goal.
Okay.
My goal is at one point try to be either or maybe have a mixture of the knowledge of Steve Irwin, you know these guys, the crocodile hunter, or David Attenborough. That both of them for me are my heroes, and that's the goal. At one point of my life, try to make people think, you know what, Tao, Tao is the one that I wanna follow in this journey. That's like the big goal. And what is fueling me to be like that is basically three things. First, that my mom's still here with me, watching my success. Second, that I have the opportunity to keep on working in the stuff I like. In this case, all the marine things, including aquatic plants, fish, corals, diving. And the third thing is that I'm enjoying the journey because while I'm doing the scientific thing, I also doing those activities to relax. In this case, swimming, diving, travel. That it's something that anybody just enjoy. Just get out of the city maybe get out of the office, that's what it fuels me a lot.
I'm gonna go back a little bit because you said something. Your mom is here to see your success,
Hmm.
right? And she can share in that. Define success. What is like? How do you measure it? What is success? What does that look like?
Okay, for me, or how she teach me, is first put goals that you can actually accomplish. Don't say I want to be a billionaire and that's it. No, no, no. So you want to be a scientist. Okay, first thing is look for a PI, a professor that can understand you and can push you to obtain some other things. I did that. That's a step. Then, my mom, she's a lawyer. She said like, well, I can help you in that world. So if the opportunity is to go somewhere else, to stay, to do other thing that is not fish related, go for it because you never know. So I have the opportunity then, like to study plants or fish. I decide fish. That's another goal because it's a decision. So from since I start to now studying fish, I consider that a success. Maybe not that huge, but it's a success for me because it's still opened me doors in life. And now um, I have the opportunity to do my master in Spain. So now I'm moving outside Mexico. So academically speaking, that's a huge, huge step because now I know that what I learn in Mexico is valuable for other parts of the world. And then travel to the Arctic, you know, being the only Mexican, no systems in the Arctic, in Mexico, and then say, hey, you can go back to Mexico with a job, 19 years old, okay.
Yeah.
So you can have, I guess that success is measured with the steps that you consider that you're doing correctly. We have up and downs in our lives, but every time that if we don't fail, we're not learning. So I guess that obviously nobody wants to be down, but if if you also have those downs and you didn't learn them, I think you're not succeeding.
Right.
You don't learn from your past. You don't learn about things that make you go down. Instead, you start thinking, okay, I did wrong this. Let's move on. I'll try plan B, plan C. It not happening, D, plan E, plan F, but never stop. Keep on thinking. If you really want to afford that, go for it. So I guess even saying that to yourself is success because you're not stopping. You keep on pushing yourself to the limits and say, hey, man, I know that my mom sacrificed a lot. I've been sacrificing things. I need to get to that point today, tomorrow, in a year, in 1 month, whatever. Let's do it. But but if you start, oh God, I just failed once, second fail, third fail, four, I'm gonna stop. You're not strong enough in here, I guess.
How do you prevent yourself from being derailed?
I guess it takes a lot of time. Also, you need to accept that sometimes you're not prepared for that, and because of this, I'm not saying to stop. I'm saying look for alternatives. If you can't reach that goal because of certain things, okay, what does the other guys that are there have that I don't? In my case, let's say an example. I want to be this diver, but I don't know how to dive. First step, learn to dive. Okay, then I want to dive in caves. Okay, there's specialities to be a master diver in caves. What do I need to do apart from the training? Well, you need to know how to use lights. You need to learn how to change well, know a little bit of basic engineering with oxygen, with tanks, with the jacket. Okay, those are skills that you need to afford to gain that knowledge. It's also in another kind of life. I want to be here. I'm failing. What I'm doing wrong? What do they have that I don't? And then it's costly sometimes. Yeah, and I'm not talking about just money. It also time, friendships, relationship, family. But if they are true family, true friends, true I don't know, in my case, girlfriend or whatever, uh, we have at that time, if they are willing to also sacrifice that time, go for it.
Have you taken your girlfriend down with you?
Uh Not really,
No.
not really. Because we're just starting, so
Oh, okay.
it's different. But she's also awesome. She also knows a lot of things in marine things. Um, but the thing is that I'm just saying all of this because sometimes, as people, persons, we don't accept that we need to sacrifice things. So it's not being selfish, it's not being egoish, but if you want that, sometimes you need, to leave other things that it would make you sad.
Do you feel like, because I have another question for you, but do you feel like because you're able to do the things that you love to do, right? Because to hear you talk about it, it's clear you absolutely love it.
Yeah.
Not a question whatsoever. You love what you do. You love to wake up and do it. You love being on a ship or a tiny boat and the waves are about to knock the boat over, all for the purpose of your research or for science, right? Which to me is phenomenal because from an athletic standpoint, for me, it's like, hey, when I played ball, when I ran track, anything that was tied to that, I'm going to do it no matter what it takes. That's what I want to do. I don't care where it is. I'm going there, right?
Yeah.
And it can be the harshest conditions. I don't care. I'm going to be there. It could be a tornado. Okay, yeah. That's fine. It's a mile away. We still got a little time. Whatever, right? You being able to have that type of peace of mind. Do you think that for you, like that's one of the, I guess, core things that really sort of makes it easy for you to stay as positive as you are because you are charismatic. You're very charismatic. You know what I mean? Like you're the only. You walk in the gym and you hear one person laughing all the time, having a great conversation. It's always. I know when you're there all the time.
Yeah.
Right. Even if I'm on the other side, was it the north side? This is the north side. Even if I'm on the north side, I can hear you on the other side. So I know you're there, and I know you're always having a good time. But is it because a lot of people, they get up and go to work, they hate what they're doing.
Mm-hmm.
But you clearly you love what you're doing. So does that give you fire in life?
So, of course, it's I love what I do, no question about it. The thing is, I've learned how to separate things, if that makes sense. So,
what do you mean?
So here's the interesting thing: we all have problems, we all have dreams, we all have things that we love and hate. One way that I was teach was that how to separate all of that. Work will stay in the work. Family will stay in that block of being in the family. Sadness is for me. Joy is for the others. I have a lot of things to do like everyone else. I have a lot of stuff to deal with like anybody else. But I guess that those, let's say, bad or energy, the other people doesn't deserve it. That's my way of thinking. They just need to know that if there has 5 minutes left, you can change the day of that person. So I try just to, give a fist bump, the classic fist bump. Um, a small, a short talk to the people saying, "Hey, how's it going? You're late. We're at the gym. Keep on doing it." And see that energy. Sometimes that energy make the other people to, yeah, I'm already here. Let's do it. That small unconscious or subconscious push is something that I also like to see in people, because everyone at one point we are all tired, we are done, we hate even life sometimes. But if you find the correct person that give you joy for 5 minutes, your day might change.
That's so interesting. My aunt, may she rest in peace, she would say, "Give them some of what you got. Give them some of what you got." Then I was like, "What does that mean?" But I get it. Give them some of what you got. So if you're an aspiring individual or whatever, and those people they were young, it was her kids, and they were growing up, and it's like, expose them to whatever it is you've been exposed to that's enabled you to have the charismatic outlook or whatever,
Yeah.
So, but I get it. Okay, so story time.
Story time.
My wife and I go on vacation, and prior to going to vacation, I told her I wanted to go swim with the sharks. Sweet. You started with sharks.
Yeah.
I wanted to go swim with, and you told me about the shark encounter stories that you kind of freaked me out with. But so I'm like, okay, I'm going to go swim with sharks. I don't want to just swim with, what is it, the Galapagos shark?
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to swim with them. I want to swim with the tiger shark. Right?
Okay.
I want to swim with sharks that they will attack you if you are not inside the cage. I want to swim with those sharks. But so I've seen people swim with tiger sharks, and they weren't getting bit. I don't know why, but they weren't. But I went to that website, and on that website made it very clear: don't go swim with them because you don't know, they're unpredictable.
Yeah.
Right? They may swim around and everything is cool. Everything is cool. Snap their one leg. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And you thought everything is cool. So, but I was like, all right, I'm gonna do it. So I went on YouTube. I watched every video of people swimming with crustaceans, with sharks, different sharks.
Yeah.
Seen them in the cage, out of the cage, right? And so I was like, okay, if she says no, I'm still out. I was like, if she says no, I have the cage as the backup. Right? I'll use the cage as the backup. All right. She says, hell no. She's like, hell no. Then I got her to where she was like, maybe with a cage if we have time, right? All the while in her mind, I know she's like, hell no, we're not gonna have time. We're not gonna have time. It's not gonna happen, period, right? So I'm looking everywhere. I'm trying to buy the passes to get the instruction to go down and do all this stuff. We end up not going, right? We end up not going. So I have it in my mind where I'm set, like, I'm gonna go do it. We leave. We get back. I'm still fascinated with, okay, I gotta get it. I'm trying to find places in Orange County or like Newport Beach, Dana Point, wherever, where I can go out and get in the water and get down with some sharks. And then I see a video of some people inside of a cage, and the shark bursts inside the freaking cage
and gets stuck.
Right?
Yeah.
But the rope or chain or cable, whatever, the cable, the system up top, because it's more than one shark attacking the cage, the cable system up top breaks. They're going down, and all you hear on the camera,
yeah,
right? Totally changes my perspective on swimming with sharks, right? I'm like, okay, I don't know if this is like an alpha thing for me. Like, I got to go down there, because I'm also the same person that I want to go with the lions. I want to be up in the spar with the lions.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I want to jump out of the truck. I want to jump out of the truck, and I just want to sit there and look face to face with. Because you see these guys who, they're inside the cages with the lions, and I'm like, okay, I know that they fed those lions a whole elephant before that person went in there, right? So I'm like, okay, feed him whatever, a Horus, whatever you have to feed him, and let me go in there. But at the same time, Or maybe they're giving them volume or something like that to keep them calm. I don't know. But I'm like, all right. I see this video of this little wiener dog. He goes up to this lion, and he's like licking the lion's face and doing all kinds. I'm like, okay, well, come on.
Yeah.
I mean, what's the worst that could happen, right? So then I'm watching this video of all of these. I don't know if they're bull or buffalo. I think they're buffalo.
Okay.
And they're all or something, but they're all like running by. And there's a pack of lioness, and then there's this one lion, and the lionesses are kind of like doing the double dutch thing. Where they're like, okay, I'm gonna get one. I'm gonna go get it. I'm gonna go get it. I'm gonna go get it. But they never go and attack them, right?
Yeah.
Out of nowhere comes this ferocious lion, flies through all of them, attacks one, brings it down, kills it. And I was like, wait a minute. That buffalo is a lot bigger than me.
Yeah. Heavier, stronger.
And that lion probably weighs about 500 pounds, if that, whatever. Right? But the ferociousness, I was like, I don't know, I gotta rethink this. But you, sir, decide, I'm gonna go in the water. I'm gonna go in the water and I am going to let this shark come up to me. Pet him, tell him, move, and keep on doing what I'm doing. No, I don't think so.
There's something weird.
What is going on up in here? Because that first experience had to be extremely scary.
Yeah.
What was that like?
Okay, so you mentioned certain things, and for example, all sharks will attack you at one point. It's not because they were feed, nothing.
There's no peaceful shark?
There are peaceful sharks. Mm-hmm. There are coral reef sharks, the treasure shark. That one is like one of my favorites.
It's peaceful as mine too.
But all of them, they will attack you if they feel in danger. Mm-hmm. So, being in the ocean with these tremendous animals, you never know. Because instead of like being in the land and you say, okay, it's coming from this direction, in the water, you need to check front, back, left, right, up, and down. Because you're diving. Yeah. And each single shark has like a unique strategy to hunt. Great white sharks, why are we scared of them? Because they show off. If you notice most of the videos when they are recording them, the shark is flying with the seal outside the water.
Right.
But it's because what they do, they swim, they locate their prey, go a little bit deeper, and then all the propulsion is like a bullet. So imagine you're a poor seer, and then someone hits you from above and even take you out the water.
Have you seen this live?
In South Africa. Yeah, I wasn't inside the ocean. I was in the boat, but I see the freaking shark just like flying with the poor seal. It's impressive. But like I say, that's the way that the great shark do it. There are other sharks. For example, the nurse shark. The mouth is smaller, the teeth are different, and they just look for small crustaceans. Yeah. Just like a manta ray. So instead of biting like with those sharp teeth, they just like crunch the shells to break them down. So the morphology is important. Yeah. The treasure shark, that one, it's a small shark, but the tail, it's twice as long than his body. And why does that it has? Because that big fin make tornadoes or make like move it so fast that it can cut the fish, knock out the fish. So it uses like a sword, and then he can eat it. Other sharks like the tiger or the bull shark, they just go in front of you. They're not scared of you. They are massive sharks that it's you or me. Let's do it.
Right.
So well, that's like the first thing. My first experience was with the great shark. and
Great shark, like great white.
the great white, yeah. And I was behind my instructor. He was telling me, "I'm gonna do it, and you will copy my movement." At that time, the my instructor was wearing the this advanced mask that you can talk underneath the water, so I could hear him. And I can't talk because I just knew used the normal one, but he was explaining me, "You need to do this, you need to do that, and if this happened, you know, it's because you're in trouble. If not, don't show them that you're
If this happened, meaning if the shark responds to your movement or whatever you do this way, you're in trouble.
you're in trouble.
But if it responds that way,
It's more likely to be the peaceful shark that
gotcha. Okay.
So, like I said before, it's a 50-50. You're in that environment. You never know. And yeah, he teach me so well that I was like, oh, I'm gonna do whatever. But the thing is that all the time you need to be aware. You need to look at the animal, saying, okay, I'm dealing with that 300 kilograms of full muscle that can change in this or even less distance from 0 kilometers to 10 kilometers just in one move. That move can just knock me out.
You're right.
So
yeah.
so the experience for me was like, oh my god, what if I try to do the same thing? And suddenly like, well, mom, I don't have an arm.
Have you ever been attacked by anything since you've been in the ocean?
No, just by jellyfish. But it was like, jellyfish was there, and I was like, oh, look at that, and suddenly start. I feel I feel something in my arm. I feel something in my leg,
Right.
and then, oh God, it's burning. It's burning. So after the dive, can someone pee on me? Because I need to get rid of all of this.
Right.
But no. The sharks, like I tell the people, they are just like puppies.
That's just so crazy. You just walk around smelling like pee.
It's crazy. Bro.
Hey, pissy guy.
It's the antidote for
Imagine somebody just walking up, seeing somebody pee. It's like, hey, that's not enough. You too, come get it.
Drink more water, man.
Oh my God, that is insane. It's insane. That's crazy. But I get it though. It's kind of like my neighbor was telling me how they had a skunk in the backyard, and he went to go capture the skunk with his bare hands.
Mm-hmm.
Well, they caught it in this crate, but then he had to get it out, so he had to go in with his hands. And of course, the skunk sprayed him.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I think he used like tomato sauce or something like that all over his body. And
for days.
He put it in the tub, and he's like soaking in the tomato sauce or something like that. I was like, that's crazy.
Yeah.
But it's better than smelling like skunk and trying to go to work. And he works like in like food. No, he's in like food. Like he's in the food. Right? So imagine that. He goes into his area, he's smelling like skunk. And that would be crazy. Right?
Yeah.
All the food is molded. Somebody call the health department. No.
Yeah.
So you've never been attacked. Hey, what do you
Never.
think of these? What do you think of these huge tortoises? These big old huge turtles? Because so while we're in Hawaii and we're swimming, I learned a valuable lesson about the water. All right, I always respected the water because in my attempts to surf when I was younger, the board gets swept from under my feet. I go forward. I'm rolling. The tide pulls back. I smack onto the sand. The tide comes, twists me up. I almost break my back. I get out sore. In that instance, I'm like, okay, this water is for real. So I instantly gained a different, and I swam all the time, but I had never had an experience like that, right? So anyway, I tumble. I go tumbling. I'm in pain. I instantly gain respect for the water. We go to Hawaii. We go on this trip where they take us out, right? And they tell us, okay, when we go out, you when you get in the water, you stay in the group.
Yeah.
Okay, so there's like 3 or 4 different ships out there. And there's all these different people. They tell us to stay together because there's a lower probability of you being attacked by a shark because there's so many people. for me, I'm thinking, so what you're saying is they're going to get somebody, but it just might not be you. That's what I'm thinking, right? So, okay, great. But here's the deal. Total new level of respect for the water. We are in the group. We're in the group, and the current. Now, I'm used to the current in California. And I get it when it pulls you out. I've been pulled out before, and I've been strong enough to swim my way back in. And sometimes I've gone out, period, because I'm trying to catch a wave or whatever, right?
Yeah.
So I've done that on purpose. In Hawaii, though, it's a different level.
Yeah.
So I'm learning that when you go to different areas, that current is very different. So while I'm sitting there, we're just all in the group. I noticed that shortly after coming on I'm underwater, I'm swimming with the fish, and I'm, got video and things of that nature. And I come up and I noticed that, people are like really, really spread out. We're not close anymore. Where the hell is everybody going?
Yep.
I'm like, well, maybe there's a party over there, because I see these people over there behind the boat. I see people over there behind that boat, and I see people way over there. And so I'm looking around. Now, my wife, she's just like a little dolphin, like a baby dolphin. She's in the water. She's down there. She's coming up telling me, oh, look down there, there's turtles down there, all kinds of stuff. I'm looking down there. I don't see turtles. I see these little black fish like all over. They're like all in my face. It's like staring at me like they're trying to talk to me and everything, right? I'm like, what the heck is going on? So I start swimming around trying to find the fish. I see this guy, this older guy. He had to be like in his 60s or 70s, right? Mm-hmm. But you could tell he was a military cat. Mm-hmm. He was using nothing to go down. He was way down here. First, I didn't even realize it was a human. I was like, "Oh my god, what is that? What the heck is that?" And as he got closer, it's him. It's this guy, right? And they tell me, he said later that he was military. He diving was something he did all the time. It's very common for him.
Yeah,
he's going there getting close up pictures and all kinds of stuff, right? Down under the water, there is these huge sharks. Not sharks. These turtles. These big old. These turtles are like. They're like man size. They're huge.
Maybe the table.
Yeah, like the size of the table. But under the water, so down deep, I'm thinking, okay, well, for that thing to be that big down below, if it comes up, it's got to be. So then they start to come up. They'll come up and they'll drop. They don't really care about us. No. They don't care. We are not a threat to them, right? And I don't know if we're not a threat because beat the crap out of us. Mm-hmm. One chomp, it's a wrap. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They take a bite out of crime. It's all good. They got us. I don't know what it is, but anyway, I'm looking around. I'm trying to find my wife. I noticed that I am probably now like 50 yards away from the boat. Remember, we were supposed to stay in the pack.
Yeah.
So I keep trying to swim back. They give us these little air packs where you breathe. My air pack, it deflates. I have no air. It's like if you go down, if something happened, it's supposed to like help you stay up and bring you up and float. Yeah, it's not doing anything for me. It's deflated, and every time I try to take my mask off to blow it up, the waves are like, I'm getting beat up by the waves. But while all that's happening and I'm trying to get this thing together, the current is pulling me farther and farther and farther out, right? I start to panic because I'm like, okay, I don't see my wife anymore.
Yeah.
So my number one priority is find her. Where is she gone? Because I'm a lot heavier than her. I'm like, it's probably pulling her little self out. I don't know where. I'm looking around. Finally, I just start swimming, trying to swim in. As I'm swimming in, I notice I'm literally getting pulled back while I'm swimming forward. I'm like, wait a minute. I'm working here. I am seriously working. I finally found her. She's just under the water floating. There's literally nobody around her. I don't even know if she knows this. She's so fascinated by everything that's going on down below. I'm like, woman, if you don't get over here, in my head, I'm trying to talk to her. I'm totally yelling at her, but I'm getting beat up by the water. So I'm just, I go in the water, and I have it all on video too. So this is what makes it even crazy. I have it on video. I'm going underwater because I'm like, okay, is that my wife? That's my wife. I'm looking up, and she's like, she's going in and out of the water so fast, I can't keep up with her, but she's fascinated by the sea. She's fascinated by everything she sees. While I'm doing that, we're both now getting pulled away. I look at our boat. Bruh, our boat felt like it was a mile away. I'm like, oh, hell no.
It's my day.
It's time to go. I grab her, and I'm like, hey, we're going to the boat. The boat is way over here. Look how far we are from the boat. We start swimming. I say, just stay with me. Follow me. Okay? We start swimming. I'm going. I like to think that I'm in shape. I like to believe that going to work out Monday through Friday, Monday through Thursday, that I'm really doing some stuff. That ocean taught me you are in no shape at all to manage this monster right here. There is no way possible. I swam out probably like, I'm going to say 10 yards. It probably wasn't 10 yards. It was probably all in my head. It might have been like 4 or 5. I was so exhausted. And then when I turn around and look at everything is even farther out. Here's the worst part. I can't find my wife. I can't find my wife. I'm like, where is she? And then finally I see her. She pop up. And there she is. We start swimming. I'm like, come on. We're swimming. We swam. I swear, I felt like I was swimming for hours. It was not that, of course. I finally get to the boat. This was like track practice all over again. Track and field. We're doing the distance running or something. My chest is burning. My little inflatable thing is deflated. I have all kinds of water. I've drank so much seawater. It is insane. Like my skin, my lips are all brown and all burnt. I get to the boat. I can't find the freaking ladder to climb the boat. Right? But here's the crazy part. I'm swimming. I'm going in the water. I'm trying to come up top. I'm swimming. I'm going back and forth. Under, up, right? And then I'm like, okay, that's too tiring. I stay underwater. But then I'm afraid to open my eyes underwater. So I'm like, I don't want to see something that I really don't want to meet right now. So I'm going to keep my eyes closed. And I'm going to look when I'm up top. So I finally get to the back of the boat. I get to the side of the boat. And I'm like, get up this dang thing, man. I'm like, hey! I'm trying to get up on the boat. I swim around to the back of the boat, right? And I'm thinking, okay, at the back of the boat, I can get up. No, there's a lady looking over. She's like, oh, what are you doing? What the hell do you think I'm doing? The same thing you did. I'm trying to get back on the boat. I finally go around the boat. Mind you, I can't get up because I'm looking around. I'm like, where the hell is my wife? So I go back. I'm like, oh my God. I go back. I'm looking for her. I can't find her. I'm talking to the guy. The guy goes, where's your wife? I'm like, bro, you've been on a boat this whole time. Where's my wife? I don't know. Look out there. I'm looking. I'm trying to find her. I start to go back out and swim. But as I'm looking, I'm like, she's not anywhere around there. So I'm like, okay, I got to get out of the water because I got to be able to see where she is and try so I can get to her. So I go around the back of the boat, go to the other side of the boat, and I go to finally climb up. I had to, it was like, my body was so heavy. It was so heavy. I hung onto the ladder for dear life for a while. I finally get up there. I'm running around the boat trying to find my wife. I can't find her. I'm literally getting ready to go back into the water because I can't find her. I'm talking to the guys. I'm like, hey, I can't find my wife. Do you know my wife went to the front of the boat?
Having a margarita, drinking water.
She swam. Okay. So she swam, but she swam around to the front of the boat to come that way. Mm-hmm. And I swam around to the back of the boat where we got off at. So we got off at the back and then we would swim and just go right to where the back is. She swam to the front of the boat and went around the long way. So as I'm trying to find her, I can only imagine the panic or, the exhaustion because the swim was crazy. You're literally fighting that current and that current is so strong. Mm-hmm. What pissed me off was they never told us. I'm like, bro, you could have told me that coach was going to be like pushing me back every time I run forward. You could have told me that. You could have prepared me for that, but that was insane.
Yeah.
What's even more insane is you do this crap all the time for fun.
Yep. Yep. That's true.
But that explains a lot too, because in watching you work out, well, that's probably why you're pushing 7,000 plates on the sled. There's a video. You guys got to go to this guy's social media. He has a video on his social media where he's doing these crunches, and he's got this barbell, and he's rowing like he's on a boat while doing the barbell. I'm like, look, man, I've done a lot of crazy stuff when I work out. I've never rowed a boat while doing crunches.
Yeah, it's a heavy training. I do it for health, yeah, but also because, like you say in your story, you think you have everything, but when you're dealing with the stuff, you're not prepared. In my case, working with sharks at the beginning, is not. If I don't have the strength to hold a shark, I'm not by myself. It's a team. We're talking about sharks of 4, 5, 6 meters long, plus the weight, minimum 200 kilograms. I don't know to transform it in pounds, but it's too much.
Oh yeah.
So the thing is that try to secure a shark. You need strength, but you don't need that type of strength. You also need flexibility. So in my workouts, I try to do those two things, and sometimes it seems crazy, but it's because my job, the things I love to do, require that.
Yeah.
So yeah, and it's crazy because sometimes you forget about work, and I'm just there. So I love it. The other thing, like you say, the ocean will trick you so much, because what we see is just the ocean, but inside the ocean you have the current, you have the rivers, you have even like let's say some slides underwater. I'm just talking about more oceanographic terms in here. I also have a background of that. That was my master, so and yeah, every single water it's different. Hawaii is one of the best ones because the currents over there are really nice mixed, and the waves are cool for surfers. Or there are peaceful waves, just like in the Caribbean. But yeah, that's a whole story that people like me need to know. The people that want to study marine biology needs to know, because this is a way to, when you go to see, it doesn't matter if it's sharks, coral reefs, plants, or even just do statistics of water. You need to know, because you never know when your life is on risk. The only thing that you have is the boat. If the boat sink, you need to be prepared for that. Nobody tells you that, but unconsciously, subconsciously, they are teaching you, like, if this happen, you should know this.
You know what? You just really opened up a can of worms for me right there, because as many times as I've been on boats and yachts and all kinds, nobody has ever said you need to be prepared in the event that it sinks, and that is a major reality.
Yes.
That is a major reality.
What they give you, what is it? The life jacket, and that's it. But what if the person doesn't know how to swim?
Yeah.
What if the person have like a that freak out moment that he or she forgot to swim?
Mm-hmm.
It's your son, your wife, any family member, friend, and just panicking. No one, really like teach you what to do in those situations. In my case, like I say, I being with people that actually, you need to be prepared for this.
Right.
Because if this happen, the only team, let's say, it's us.
Yeah.
And then how to solve it.
Has anyone on the teams that you've been on ever, been in that situation, or been in a situation where they were attacked or trapped, or maybe they were stuck or something?
With the scientific community, none of them.
Okay.
When I was an undergrad starting doing the shark study, the fishermen in Mexico, yes. Because they do it for job. They don't have the technology like big fisheries that have like these huge boats. They just do it in these small boats that we call lanchas, and they just put the nets or whatever they use for fishing, and by hand catch it. So sometimes they are bringing back the net and the shark's still alive. So sometimes it's like, well, we need this because money comes from here, and sometimes they're like, oh, one finger down.
Oh, snap.
Oh, whoop, one arm, or it's already in the boat, and there are some sharks like the mako shark that is like the classic shark of the cartoons that even outside the water start jumping because he wants to bite something.
Wow.
So sometimes you're like doing your stuff with the net, and suddenly, pluck, oh, got me.
That's just a natural reaction for them.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Let me ask you. So in your community, there are terms that you all use that are regular,
Yeah.
right? That the average person does not know, but probably would be to their advantage, or would be helpful for them to know. What are some of those terms?
Oh, well, that will depend a lot because of the region, depends of the people that you're working with. Scientifically, it's always like these fancy words that only the scientific community knows.
Mhm.
But that's why now, what I try to do when I explain what I do, I try to do it with the minimum fancy words
Mhm.
so that people understand what I do, that it's incredible to know, and if they have the chance to do it, go for it. So the terms will depend. For example, Mexican slang, Spanish. Our slang is so diverse, and you can mix all kind of words to just say shark's coming.
Mm. So how would you say that? Give me an example. You can give me all of them. I just want to know if the shark's coming.
So, for example, the classic in divers, just put your hand on top of you, and you already know that there's a shark like where you're pointing. So,
Okay.
sometimes you have the knife. You hit the oxygen tank because sound is the one that you can hear underneath the water.
And that's to let people know that there's a shark coming?
Or you're gonna do an announcement.
Okay.
So tack tack tack, everyone's looking at you. Shark that way.
Gotcha.
So everyone pay attention to that. But while you do that as a, let's say, recreational diving, everyone just will look to that direction. But when you actually know that you need to look for a shark, let's say there's the team of four. Three of us will look to that direction, and one will still look behind, up and down, right to left. Because if there's one, we still don't know what species it, because there are some sharks that are just there, and they are solitary. But there are others that come in big communities, like the hammerhead shark. And these ones are my favorite because these ones are very aggressive, and they're the biggest ones.
Oh, you like the ones that are the most aggressive. You want to fight. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
But yeah. So, can you see when you go diving, recreational, when they say, "Oh," you're looking at the shark because you want to see that.
Yeah.
Or the turtle, or the delphin, the whatever.
Yeah.
But none of the guys pay attention to their surroundings.
Got it. Do me a favor. Rank the sharks. You said the hammerhead are the most aggressive. So if you were to rank them in terms of their aggressiveness from top to bottom, who would be the top of that food chain?
Ooh, the most aggressive for me will be the bull shark.
Okay.
Then the tiger. Then the hammerhead. The mako, and then the great white.
On the shorelines of California, what are we most likely to run into? Off the shorelines, right?
Off the shore. Oh, it's more like the treasure shark. That it's in. Let's say that you have a big adult. It's like the body size is like this size of the table, but it seems bigger because the tail is like twice as long of the body.
Okay.
So in terms of sharks, it's a small shark, and those are the ones that are more likely to approach to you because here in California, the corals reef or the rivers that cross California are closer to the shore. But that's the reason. Also, if you go a little bit further out, you can see some white sharks. but it's not that often, to be honest. Hmm. Yeah, fish of all kind. It's more likely to find rays. Hmm.
We've gone whale watching.
Hmm.
It's quite boring.
No, it's not, man.
But remember, I am on a boat hoping for a whale to appear. We were lucky enough to see a mom and a baby. The baby was 2 days old.
Hmm. Oh,
They
nice.
grow extremely fast, as we learned. It is insane how fast they grow. But I think it was 2 days old. The baby was 2 days old, and but we see it from the surface level, like on the boat.
Hmm.
You see them for down below.
Yeah.
So sitting there waiting for 2-3 hours for it to pop up and okay, the show's over, versus you going down below. In terms of sharks, whales, what does that? Is it common for there to be friction in that relationship, or you know what I mean? Because it's like the hunter and the hunted type of deal, or is it a situation where in certain areas they are, they sort of navigate the seas quite well together?
Okay, so it's more likely to watch a whale than a shark. Second, in terms, yes, sharks are one of the top predators in the ocean, but they are also specialized for certain things. With the whales, you have other kind of problem because you have like the orcas that they are really, even dolphins are more aggressive than sharks. So it's interesting to learn that. Like you have like the funny faces of dolphins and the aggressive face of a shark, and you say, well, the shark's gonna win. The dolphin is very aggressive.
Okay.
Those noses are very hard, and sometimes they can kill a great white shark.
Really?
Yeah. They beat their ass.
Wow.
Yeah.
I didn't know that. I got a question for you. This question is more of a fantasy type of question, right? Are leviathans real?
Sorry, what's it again?
A leviathan. Leviathan?
I guess to be honest, I'm not sure because we haven't discovered properly the ocean, the whole ocean. So the thing is that yes, we know how deep the ocean is because of the satellites and the technology that now we have. So we can learn about that, but go deep inside and record things that aren't normal. It's difficult because of the water pressure, the current, the technology that we have. So and the ocean is so big that you might be exploring. I don't know, this water bottle over here, but you're still missing the whole table. And probably those creatures that we see in fairy tales or whatever live here.
Yeah, or something similar.
It's
like people. There's this remarkable fascination with space, with outer space, right? Now, I'm not going to say space, not within the Earth's atmosphere, well outside of the Earth's atmosphere, right? In outer space, and different galaxies and planets. There's just this huge fascination with that. But we have space here that has not been explored. Right?
Yes.
And interestingly enough, there can be species down below that have cures for diseases, that are, forgive me, but different food sources, but that also hold like the key to understanding history, understanding the origin of the planet and evolution and ecology, right? All of these different things. From your perspective, why do you think that there's less? I'm not gonna say that there's not, because I know that there is a lot. You're an example of that. There is a lot of people who are interested in it. However, I think that everything falls under the umbrella of funding.
Yes.
Everything. Why do you think that there's more funding to get off the planet than there is to find out what's actually in the planet?
In the planet, the facility to do it.
What do you mean?
So you spend more money in something that you can actually see and people can record, because that give you, public. They say like that's working. While if you do it underneath when nobody can see it, like in a big thing, let's say when a rocket is going outside space, a lot of cameras of different countries are looking at that spaceship.
Yeah.
But not that many cameras can see what is going on down the ocean.
I don't think that there are that many cameras that can even get that far and still be operational or functional.
And that's my second point. The second is the technology. It's not the same pressure that you need to get rid when you're in air that the pressure under the ocean. Every 10 meters is 1 atmosphere. So if we're talking about, just a small example, 400 meters, like some of the watches, it can hold 400, 300, 30 meters, 40 meters. You're talking about atmospheres. So it's a big amount to just hold in a camera, not even talking about a submarine. So, the funding, the views, and the same nature.
You said the views.
The views, yeah, because the views, like it or not, the views, when you can show to the people what you're doing, they believe in you.
So it's the eyes on it, the interest of the people to gain their attention, to really grab the attention of the people, to gain their interest in. I know, I understand that. I understand that. Look, if this was all taken from you, who would you be?
In terms of?
Just everything that you've been doing. If everything that you were doing, this entire journey, all the knowledge that you've gained, right? If for whatever reason, at the snap of a finger, it all disappeared, who would you be? Who would Tao be?
Okay, so I can't choose science? Or I can choose science?
You don't have it anymore.
I don't have it anymore. Does engineering count as a scientist?
I'm talking specifically as it, you know what I mean, the ecosystem of the sea, right? And what you do from a research standpoint, and your goals, and who you want to become, right? Steve Irwin was huge.
Yeah.
I mean, he literally changed, I think, people's perceptions of animals, interactions with animals, and you know what I mean. And so for you want to go down a similar path, right? And be that person. However, what if that's all taken from you? Who would you be?
Who would you be? Would I be? Well, if I could come back a little bit, maybe a basketball player.
Okay.
If, let's say, I can't go back in time, I'll be, like it or not, maybe just a doctor.
Okay.
A doctor, but not like the common ones that we heard that cure people. Would be the type of doctor to start knowing about the functionality of systems that we don't understand. An example, how the cells work and how can you can implement some new things.
You're talking about in the microscopic world.
In the microscopic world. Something that, still nobody wants to look at for hours, maybe days or years.
Got it. That's very interesting.
But even, I guess that include also science. And you're saying me that I don't need to include that. So probably I'll be just that kind of person that talk to people to make them feel loved.
Okay.
make them feel that they have a reason to be in this world.
So like a psychologist or psychiatrist.
Mm, Probably, but in the way of not treating them like that. More like you say, sometimes you have your boring job and you don't just want to quit, but you can't because you have a family. So try to give this kind of speech saying like, "Hey, you're here for a reason. There's not just you. You need to push your whole family, friends, whatever, and then keep on doing what you dream of." So I don't know that kind of people want a lot of motivation. I guess that sometimes you just need the right person just to push you to those limits that you need to reach. So yeah, probably that. I think that I'm good at that, and even I as a professor, a TA here at UCR, my students, the if, I'm just walking through campus, and it's for me at least. It's like, oh, that's my TA. Hey, how are you, man? Oh, good. Fist bump and all of this. So friends saying, hey, my students doesn't even do that to me, and I'm like, hey, I try to treat them like humans, not like students, not like numbers. You are important because what you are, and even if you don't like to do what you're doing right now, try to look something. If you don't want to study, it's fine. What job do you want to do? I don't know. This, do it with passion.
Yeah.
And be honest also with your family, because here in the States, it's very expensive to go to college or university or whatever. So be real also. This is more like for the young ones,
Yeah.
because it's like, okay, I don't want to study, mom. I don't want to study that. My dream is to, I don't know, be a cooker. All right. Well, you're gonna start looking for certifications about how to do cakes, how to do Asian food, Mexican food, Canadian, Taiwanese. I don't know. I'm just giving an example. If that's your passion, go for it. But don't waste your time in something that you know. And maybe an advice for the parents is also listen, listen to your kids, saying like, okay, well, my dream is that you became a doctor, a lawyer, because it's the one that give you money. Yeah, of course. Everyone wants money. Everyone wants some I don't know, a fancy car, a big house, you know. But sometimes, even when you're not having those millions in your table, but you're doing it with passion, people will notice that you're doing it with passion.
Right.
So it's like, okay, um, you're not winning a lot of money, but you have several options and incomes that at the end you will see like, oh, thank God I don't need to worry about this.
Right. Yeah.
So yeah, I don't know. It's life. It's difficult, but I guess that the key point of everything is communication.
You you play basketball
Yes, sir.
for the Mexican national team.
Yes.
How did you get there? Like, what were you doing to get yourself to there, or to get recognized or recruited?
So, there's a background story about that. I started playing since I was maybe in secondary school, and let's say I was good, not perfect or excellent, but I was good. And the main thing was my charisma. Again, my charisma was the one that made me just be notable, but to push my team too. So they noticed that when I was, that they do all these kind of statistics to see how many points, how many losses, and whatever. In my case, I wasn't that, um, scoring player, but they noticed that when I was playing with the other four guys in the basketball court, the other four guys improved their numbers. because they were watching me sacrifice the jumps, the rush, the patience, or the new strategy in while playing to make my team win. So, and when I was out, those numbers go down because I'm 183 tall. I guess is one. I don't know. Sorry, but I'm not that tall to be a basketball player, but I could dunk it. I could steal balls in the air with these 2 meters guys. They were like, this dude is putting more effort than I. How is that possible? So I was like, chop chop, let's move. We need to win. So when they see that in Mexico we have this tournament in the Tecnológico de Monterrey that is also a university and high school that try to do and have the system of the United States that if you are good in this, they push you to keep on doing that. So at that time, there were some people looking for players, and when I was between the last year secondary to high school, my first attempt was to go to Cincinnati. I was underage, and I need the permission of my parents. Both of them say no, because my goal is to study, not to be a player. Okay, I did the tryouts, and let's say I passed, but wasn't the goal. I was almost finishing high school, and Boston asked me, but again, my parents. Well, in this case, my my mom says, no, you don't go. Then I was in the university as an undergrad. I keep on doing the basketball, and for some reason, I lucky, the main coach, Valdiomillos at that time, he saw me play. No hesitation. He said, point at me. I want that kid. Next day, I was signing the papers.
Wow.
Just like that.
So how long did you play for?
2 years.
Okay.
Yeah. 2 years. Unfortunately, I in one of the games, I break my ligament, so I couldn't walk and all of that stuff.
In your knee?
In my knee.
Oh, okay.
So no, the bones are fine. The problem was the ligament. But in one of the dunks, I tried to put it over the defense, but the defense guy never thought that I was jumping that high. He pushed me in the air, and I just tried to be like a cat, try to balance myself in the air. And when I fell, happened. And after that, I understand the idea of my mom saying, like, when these kind of things happen, your career is over as a player. Yeah. And that was like the thing. But the study, my academic career, is what makes me now be, let's say, impressive in the scientific community.
Right.
Yeah. But fantastic thing.
Well, yeah. I mean, I think that you're on this amazing journey, and sort of renowned. You've traveled to places far and near.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Just doing what it is that you love. So, just in terms of how much knowledge and experience you've gained, I can only imagine how much the actual community appreciates or adores what you bring to the table in any project or whatever it is that you work on.
Yeah.
So if people wanted to learn more about you on social media, where would they go?
I have a Facebook. You can look for my name, Tao Arellano, with double L, or Instagram. It's Tao _Tao _Pai Pai. The name is
Okay.
from Dragon Ball Z, one of the characters. So,
Okay.
yeah.
So for the people who like me are gonna say, well, how do you spell that?
Tao.
Tao. Okay.
Easy. Then underscore Tao underscore Pai. It's PAIPAI.
Where would you prefer they go, to Facebook or?
I think I'm more active in Instagram.
Okay.
But in both, shoot me a message and I can help you out with whatever I can. Mm-hmm.
For those aspiring to make it in this field, who may be sort of they may not know which direction to go in, or they may be questioning whether or not it's the best thing to do. Like, what would you say to them?
Well, it's simple and at the same time it's hard because you don't know who to ask. But what I can say is, like, if you reach me out, I have friends in all fields that might hear you and say, okay, the reality of studying, I don't know, architecture is this, biology is this, chemistry is this, medicine is this. And maybe just reaching out to the correct people will let you know, like, the huge panorama that you might afford later on.
What advice would you give them, though, in your field?
In my field, oh God, another huge advice is be true with yourself and accept the consequences of your actions. This means that not all the decisions are bad, because also the good things have consequences. But are you willing to do that sacrifice? I think that's why I'm telling you, be realistic with yourself. Because right now, yes, I've done a lot of things. I've been in the Navy. I've been in the national team. I consider myself a great scientist. What I do it with passion. I also was a criminologist. I have my diploma in that. I'm a training coach. I have a lot of things in my background, a lot of knowledge. Yes, but behind all of that, it's also me with low friends, low number of friends, not looking at or taking care of my family. There is not a proper relationship with people that I might love or used to love. So there's always a sacrifice behind all this hard job. So are you willing to accept that to win the big prize? You need to be realistic and truthful with yourself. The good thing is that when you reach that point, you will say, I did it. And then you will have everything that you left in a single space.
Mm-hmm. It all come back.
All come back.
Yeah.
All come back. So I'm just faithful that that the ones that I consider my friends, family, and etc. are here. Well, at the point I'm now, they're still with me.
Yeah.
So I know that I make the good decision. And then back to one of the questions you said, how do I measure success? I have my friends. I still have my family. I have a relationship. I have my dream accomplished. I need to look for a bigger panorama, yes, but they're still there.
Yeah.
So it was worth it. Get lost for a bit to accomplish. It was totally worth it. So
yeah. And then you made another friend on the way.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So yeah, I just want to thank you for this opportunity, Ty. Podcasts are really short, or sometimes you want to keep on talking about other kind of stuff. But yeah, everyone that is listening to this, you can reach out with me and contact Ty. and I'll be happy just to answer some other questions.
No, I think we'll do it again. I think we'll do it again.
All right.
Right. And what'll be good is once this is out, there'll be a bunch of questions that comes out, and then from those questions, we can filter through those questions, answer some of those questions, but go deeper. But then the other part too, I was going to get with you and say, you know what? When you go out and dive one time, I want to go with you.
Sure thing. Yeah.
I want to go with you. I have to get a release. I have to sign a release from my wife, but I want to go out. But I don't want to go out and get bit. That's the thing.
Okay.
I want to keep both of my legs. I like,
don't, bro.
like
you'll be safe.
I don't want to come back and be like, babe.
You know what? That was my best time ever. I thought you beat me up, but the shark beat me up so bad.
Heck no, man. Heck no. Hey, thank you for joining us for this interview, Tao. I appreciate you coming by. It's actually been pretty interesting. I've been trying to get this guy here for a while. This is huge for me. So I'm very interested. I know a lot of people that are also very interested in marine life. I literally want to know what's down deep below. Remember I told you about buying that I was going to try to get that submarine. They made the two-person submarines.
Yeah.
Where you can buy them. And I was like, okay, I wanted to get that, but you've got to go through all the training and do that stuff too. I'm still a little scared of that too, because I'm like, those things they're really powerful. The fish, the shark, all the seafood, they're really powerful. So the submarine it's a two-person submarine, but it's glass. Like not the whole thing, but in front. I mean, I'm sure that glass is secure. I'm thinking if they can generate that much power from water to get out of the ocean, carrying a seal, you mean to tell me this little bitty bubble is going to protect me? So, but anyway, hey, thanks for stopping by, man. I appreciate it.
No problem, man.
All right. Catch you all in the next one.